Let me make this clear from the start. Success is a lonely road, not because people are evil, not because they're out to get you, but because no one else is responsible for your goals. When you say you want to succeed, what you're really saying is, I'm ready to be misunderstood, criticized, ignored, and still keep going. And most people aren't ready for that. 1. Success is an isolated journey. Nobody talks about the silence. The dinners alone, the missed parties, you'll lose friends. Not because you hate them, but because your paths no longer align. You want to build, they want to chill, and that's the first trade-off, the first harsh truth. 2. No one cares until you win. You can bleed for years, grind in silence, work 18 hours a day. But until there are results, nobody's clapping. You think people will cheer you on because you're trying hard. They won't, because effort doesn't count, outcomes do. 3. Discipline is your only friend. Motivation, that's a drug, feels good for a while, then fades. Discipline is what's left when motivation dies. Discipline is doing the reps when no one is watching, not once, not twice, but every damn day, because consistency beats intensity, every time. 4. Sacrifice is non-negotiable. You want 6. Back abs and a thriving business and perfect relationships. Pick 2, because reality is a game of trade-offs. You sacrifice now to live how others can't later, or you choose comfort now and regret later. The harsh truth, most people aren't willing to bleed for the life they say they want. 5. Validation is a trap. You keep posting your little wins online, hoping someone claps. But let me ask you, if no one saw your work, would you still do it? Success isn't built on external applause. It's built on internal standards. You set the bar, you hold yourself to it, and if you need others to tell you you're doing well, you're already losing. 6. The fight is internal, not external. You think the problem is the market, your family, the algorithm. No, the problem is you, your laziness, your self-doubt, your inconsistency. Success is a game against yourself, and until you master the enemy in the mirror, nothing else matters. Final words, you're not supposed to feel good while you're building. You're supposed to feel challenged. You're supposed to question yourself, but that's the process. Everyone says they want it, but very few accept the price, because success isn't a group project, it's a fight. And you're in it alone. Most people don't realize what they're signing up for when they say they want to be successful. They imagine the outcome, the money, the respect, the admiration, but they never consider the process. And the truth is, the process is brutally lonely. You see, the path to real success is not crowded. It's not loud. It's not filled with fans and cheerleaders. It's empty because almost no one is willing to walk it. When you decide to go after something big, you start separating from the crowd, not intentionally, but because your priorities shift. You start choosing early mornings over late nights. You choose work over parties. You skip comfort in favor of discipline, and very slowly, you begin drifting away from the people you used to be close to. They don't get it. They wonder why you're so obsessed. They'll say things like you've changed, and they're right. You have, because growth demands change. But here's what no one tells you. That change comes with isolation. You will outgrow people. You will be left on read. You will be excluded from the plans. You'll see the group chats go silent. And it won't always be malicious most of the time. It's just that your journey no longer matches theirs. You're trying to build a life, they're trying to escape theirs, and that creates friction. The higher you aim, the more invisible you become to the average person. They don't understand why you work weekends. They don't get why you skip the vacation. They look at you like you're crazy. But that's what chasing uncommon goals does. It makes you unrelatable. And with that comes a new level of loneliness that most aren't ready for. Here's the kicker. No one's coming to make you feel better about it. No one's going to text you saying, "Hey man, keep grinding, I believe in you." That's not how it works. You don't get emotional support for choosing this path. You get resistance, you get mocked, you get ignored, and still you have to keep going, because success isn't a social activity. It's not a community project. It's not built in group chats or on social media. It's built in solitude, in the gym alone, in the office after everyone's gone, in the moments where it's just you, your doubts, your ambition, and your willingness to suffer a little longer than the next guy. That's what it takes. That's the price. The sooner you accept that success is an isolated journey, the faster you stop seeking permission, validation, and company. Because none of that is coming. And truthfully, none of it is needed. You don't need more friends. You need more discipline. You don't need sympathy. You need results. The world will join you at the finish line, but until then walk alone and learn to love it. Nobody cares how hard you try. Let that sink in. Not your friends, not your family, not your audience, not even the people you look up to. They care about one thing: results. That's the harsh truth. You can wake up at 4 a.m. every day, grind 16 hours, skip parties, give up weekends, sacrifice comfort, and still be invisible to the world. Effort by itself doesn't count for much. People don't reward effort, they reward outcomes. You could be working harder than anyone around you, but if there's nothing to show for it, you're not impressive. You're just trying. And trying doesn't get you paid. Trying doesn't build credibility. Trying doesn't change your life. The world is not a high school teacher handing out gold stars for participation. The scoreboard is the only thing that matters, and here's where most people mess up. They get bitter about this. They think it's unfair that no one notices their hustle, but they've got it all backward. It's not that people are cold. It's just that success is the filter. Until you have the result, no one knows if your methods even work. Think about it. Would you take fitness advice from someone out of shape? Would you let someone teach you about money if they're broke? No, because results speak louder than intentions. This is why the almost made it stories don't inspire anyone. You either did it or you didn't. Harsh but true. Everyone's got a backstory, a struggle, a list of reasons why it's hard. But those don't matter until you win. Until you reach the goal, until you actually become the person you're working to be. You're just another person with a dream. And dreams are cheap. Execution is what builds reputation. You're not going to get clapped for in the middle. You won't get support halfway. You're not owed encouragement just because you're working hard. That's what makes this journey so brutal. The early stages are thankless. You have to put in the work for months, sometimes years, before a single person even notices. And even then, some won't. And it doesn't matter. Because you're not doing this for recognition. You're doing it to win. That's the shift you have to make. That's the mindset of someone who actually makes it. Stop expecting applause for the work that isn't finished. Stop thinking people should cheer for your effort. They shouldn't. That's not how the game is played. Deliver the result, then talk. Get the win, then speak. Until then, stay quiet, stay grinding, and stay focused. You want to be seen. You want to be heard. Earn it. Nobody cares until you win, so go win. If you're relying on motivation, you've already lost. Motivation is weak. It's inconsistent. It shows up when it wants to, not when you need it. And if you're waiting to feel like it, before you take action, you're going to spend your life on the sidelines watching others win. The truth is, you don't need motivation. What you need is discipline, and that's not something you wait for. It's something you build. Discipline is showing up when no one is watching. It's doing the work, not because you feel inspired, but because it needs to be done. It's brushing your teeth every morning, not because you're passionate about it, but because it's part of who you are. That's what high-level performance looks like: repetition, routine, relentlessness. People ask me, how do I stay consistent? The answer is simple. You decide that the outcome matters more than your feelings. That's it. You stop negotiating with your emotions. You stop giving yourself a way out. You stop saying, I'll do it tomorrow, or I don't feel up to it today. You stop being soft, because every time you skip a rep, you're reinforcing a weaker version of yourself. And every time you show up, no matter how tired or stressed or unmotivated you feel, you're reinforcing a winner. You don't rise to the level of your dreams. You fall to the level of your habits. That's why discipline matters more than vision. More than inspiration, more than excitement. Excitement fades, hype dies, but habits stay. They're your foundation when everything else crumbles. And if your habits are built on discipline, you become unshakable. This is why most people lose. They think the goal is to be excited every day. They chase dopamine. They want the process to feel good all the time. It won't. Success is boring. It's repetitive. It's waking up early when you'd rather sleep. It's hitting the gym when your body's sore. It's writing content, building product, managing systems when no one's clapping. That's what the process actually looks like. Discipline is your companion in the dark, when motivation is long gone. And here's the thing, no one is born with discipline. You build it like a muscle. Every time you choose the hard thing over the easy thing, that muscle grows. And eventually, it becomes who you are. Not someone who tries hard, but someone who does what needs to be done no matter what. At the end of the day, it's not talent, not passion, not even intelligence that separates winners from losers. It's discipline, the quiet, boring, painful kind that compounds over years. So stop chasing motivation. Stop chasing a feeling, build discipline, because when everything else fails, that's what will carry you across the finish line. Everyone says they want success, but almost no one wants to do what success actually requires. They say they're willing to do whatever it takes until whatever it takes asks for something they don't want to give up. That's the line. That's where most people stop. They want the reward without the cost. They want to win without sacrificing anything. But the harsh truth is this: you don't get to keep everything and still become great. Sacrifice is the entry fee. It's not optional, it's mandatory. You want more time. Then you're going to sacrifice comfort. You're going to lose sleep. You're going to say no to distractions, entertainment, and weekends. You want to be rich. You're going to sacrifice stability. You'll take risks, face rejection, and make decisions under pressure that others avoid. You want an elite physique. Say goodbye to junk food, lazy mornings, and I'll start tomorrow. Everything has a price. You're already paying either in regret or in discipline. You choose. Most people think they can find balance while chasing excellence. They want to grow a business and still hang out 5 nights a week. They want to get shredded but still eat like everyone else. It doesn't work like that. You don't get to be exceptional and normal at the same time. You can be balanced, or you can be great, not both. And that's where the sacrifice hits. Because you'll be asked to give up things that are easy to love. Time with friends, mindless scrolling, comfortable routines. Even relationships that no longer align with your vision. It's not fun. It's not inspiring. It's necessary. Success is a trade. Every gain has a cost. Every level you reach requires a version of you to die. The lazy version, the distracted version, the version that wanted to please everyone. You don't get to bring those parts with you. And the faster you accept that, the faster you grow. The people who get ahead don't have fewer problems, they're just more committed. They're willing to bleed longer, to sacrifice deeper, to outlast the noise. And here's the truth most won't say out loud. If you're not willing to give something up, you don't want it bad enough. You want the idea of success, not the reality of it. Because the reality is brutal, it's lonely, it demands consistency when you're tired, silence when you're right, and humility when you feel like proving a point. That's the cost. You don't get the reward without paying the price. So the next time you say you want to win, ask yourself, what are you willing to lose to get there? Because if the answer is nothing, then you've already made your choice. You'll stay where it's safe. Where it's easy, where everyone else is. But don't confuse comfort with progress. Comfort is the killer of potential. Sacrifice is the path to everything you say you want. If you need people to clap for you, you're already in trouble. That's the trap, chasing validation instead of chasing results, and it's subtle. It starts with wanting to inspire others or share your journey, but underneath it, there's usually something else, a craving to be seen, a need to be told you're doing great. And the second that becomes your fuel, you're finished. Because now you're not working to win, you're working to be approved, and those are two very different paths. The moment you start needing likes, praise, or comments to feel like you're on the right track, you've lost control. You've handed your momentum to other people. You've outsourced your self-worth. Now every post is a test. Every move becomes performance, and if the reaction isn't strong enough, you question everything. Not because your work is off, but because your ego is addicted to attention. Here's the truth: most of the best work happens in silence. The best decisions are made behind closed doors. The most important reps, the ones that actually change your life, are done when nobody's watching. If you need a round of applause to keep showing up, you're not disciplined, you're distracted. And worse, you're now building for them, not for yourself. This is the trap so many people fall into. They spend more time documenting the journey than walking it. They post every little move, trying to prove how hard they're working, instead of just working. And then they wonder why progress is slow. It's because the focus is split. Part of their brain is building the thing, the other part is watching the crowd, hoping someone notices. But the people who actually win, they don't need noise. They don't need attention. They're too busy building. While others are performing, they're producing. While others are asking, "Did you see what I did?" They're asking, "What's next?" They're not driven by praise. They're driven by standards, and those standards aren't based on public approval, they're internal. If you want to succeed at a high level, you have to detach from being liked. You have to be okay with being misunderstood, doubted, even mocked. Because in the beginning, that's all you're going to get: silence, resistance, maybe even hate. And if your sense of worth is tied to applause, you won't last. You don't need external validation. You need evidence. Real wins, tangible outcomes, internal certainty. You need to know you're doing the work not because people say it's good, but because you know it's good, because it meets your standards. That's where confidence comes from. Not from 100 likes, but from 100 days of consistency. So stop chasing the approval. Stop building your life for an audience. Build for impact. Build for legacy. Build because you said you would. Validation fades. Results stay. People think the reason they're not winning is because of something outside of them: the economy, their upbringing, the algorithm, their boss, the government, their family, their environment. But the uncomfortable truth is this: the thing standing between you and the life you want isn't out there, it's you. It's your habits, your thoughts, your decisions, your ability to do what you said you'd do when it no longer feels good. The fight isn't with the world, it's with the version of you that wants to stay comfortable. Every single day you wake up, you're at war with yourself. One side wants growth, the other wants convenience. One side wants discipline, the other wants excuses, and the scary part is, whichever side you feed wins. You are not in a battle with competition. You're not even in a battle with failure. You're in a battle with your own resistance. And that's the hardest opponent you'll ever face, because it knows your weaknesses better than anyone else. It knows how to talk you out of doing the work. It tells you that it's okay to take a day off. That you'll start tomorrow, that you've already done enough. It's subtle, it's persuasive, it sounds logical, but it's the voice of the person you're trying to outgrow. And if you listen to that voice long enough, you become it. You become the version of yourself that almost made it but didn't. Not because you weren't smart enough or talented enough, but because you let yourself off the hook too many times. People love to blame external forces because it lets them off the hook. If it's someone else's fault, they don't have to change, but nothing changes until you take ownership. Until you look in the mirror and say, "If I want more, I have to become more." That's not motivational fluff, that's a strategy. Because you don't beat the world by complaining about it. You beat the world by mastering yourself. Discipline is internal. Consistency is internal. Belief is internal. No one can give you those things. No one can force you to stay late, get up early, keep your word, shut out distractions, and execute when it's inconvenient. That's your job. That's your fight. And most people lose because they never realize that's what the game is. They keep waiting for better conditions. They think if they just had more support or better luck or a little more time, things would be different. But they wouldn't, because the enemy is still inside. The day everything changes is the day you stop pointing fingers and start pointing thumbs. The day you stop trying to control outcomes and start controlling your effort. You are the asset, and you are the liability. And the sooner you take full responsibility for everything, not just the wins, the sooner you start becoming dangerous. Because now, you're in control, and that's when real success starts. You said you wanted to win. You said you wanted success. Now you know the truth. It's not easy, it's not fair, and it's definitely not for everyone. This isn't a feel-good path. This is a uvius. You fight every single day. And most people tap out not because the world beat them, but because they never mastered themselves. You'll walk alone, you'll be ignored, doubted, maybe even laughed at, but that's part of the deal. Nobody claps in the beginning. Nobody believes in you when there's nothing to show, so you show yourself. You build the proof, you sacrifice what's easy to build what lasts, you drop the need to be liked, you kill the excuses, and you wake up every day ready to fight the same internal battle again. Discipline over comfort. Action over talk. Outcomes over opinions. Because when it's all said and done, the only thing that will separate you from everyone else is that you didn't quit when it got hard. You didn't fold when it got lonely. You didn't wait to be chosen, you chose yourself. So stop looking around. Stop waiting for permission. The truth is harsh. The work is ugly. But the reward, it's yours if you're willing to pay for it. And if you are, then get back in the fight.